first one is probably pretty chalk. It's Juju Smith Schuster. You talked about Big Ben being back. All the injury stuff's behind him. I saw an article online saying Juju is in the best shape that he's been in his entire career. And I saw a picture of him as well, and it certainly looked that way.
Dang, that makes one of us.
Well, last year, Juju's ADP was in the top 5. I remember people were taking him at the wide receiver 5 in PPR leagues. We know the talent is there. He's going to be the clear alpha number 1 in this Steelers offense that's typically had high passing volume, has been great from a just air attack perspective. Pass volume pre-2019, they were first in 2018. In 2017, the Steelers were 6th most pass attempts, and in 2016, they were 10th. So over the last really 3 years before the Big Ben injury, they were just always in the top tier of the league in terms of passing volume. And the wide receiver 1 with the Steelers has always had value as far as we can remember. Remember Antonio Brown. He was the best wide receiver in fantasy for a few years. And then we have Deontay Johnson, Eric Ebron, and a healthy James Conner. I think all of those guys help the offense, which then helps Juju. So the volume, I think, will be there regardless. Juju has shown us that he can do it. You look back to 2018, he had 111 receptions and over 1,400 yards. In 2017, he was hyper efficient. He was kind of getting eased into the NFL and was at 16 yards per reception. He's just shown it. Juju can take it to the house on any play. There was that play, I remember week 3, very specifically last year. He was lined up in the slot on a 3rd and 4 on the road against San Francisco and took a slant for a 76-yard touchdown. This is just what is in this guy's arsenal. He has a fantastic skill set. I love Juju Smith-Schuster, and I think now with bringing Chase Claypool in here, another guy who can line up in the slot or on the outside, that's going to open more up for Juju. So I'm very high on Juju Smith-Schuster this year. I know a lot of people are down on him. As far as I can see from Fantasy Pros, expert consensus rankings, they have him at about right at the borderline of being a wide receiver 1. I probably have him in that 8 to 10 range. So I'm excited for Juju in 2020. How about you, Alex?
Yeah, the Steelers are a mystery for me, Steph. And to be honest with you, even where Juju's going, he is at a discounted price compared to where he was last season. But, the Steelers, there are so many question marks. Just looking at some of the names around Juju, I don't know that I'm going to own him anywhere. The upside is there. I'll give him that. But when I look at Allen Robinson, Amari Cooper, Odell Beckham Jr., Adam Thielen, even Cooper Kupp and Cortland Sutton going in that same range, most of those guys I'm going to feel more comfortable taking as my wide receiver 1. Just the possibility of taking Juju and Big Ben not being the Big Ben of old. I think he will be, and Big Ben's going to have value this season. But there are just so many question marks here around Juju. Can he be the wide receiver 1? I think he can be, but my strategy early in drafts is to be as risk averse as possible. And out of these names I just listed, I think Juju Smith-Schuster is the biggest risk there, just because we don't know what the offense is going to look like. We're 2 years removed from seeing Big Ben lead this offense, and during that season, Antonio Brown was there, Le'Veon Bell was there. So for me, look, I think Juju does have value, and where he is, I think, is pretty fair. I think he does finish right around that 10 to 12 range. That's where I have him in my rankings. But for me, I would much rather take someone else as my wide receiver 1 and take a shot on some other guy in the Steelers offense. I think James Conner could have value if he stays healthy. I'm big on Deontay Johnson this year. A lot of people are jumping aboard the hype train, so his ADP might climb a little bit higher than I feel comfortable with. But I'd rather invest in other places in the Steelers offense later on that have the same amount of upside, and kind of ride that strategy out. For me, Juju is a great player. He's young. He's still learning, growing, developing. But I'm probably not going to draft him, in too many places in 2020.
Well, look, looking at the ADP, I'm going to throw out some names and you tell me, and I'll kind of throw my 2 cents in there as well, who you would rather have. So, Alex, A.J. Brown or Juju Smith-Schuster?
I'll take Juju there.
I will as well. Adam Thielen or Juju?
Man, this one's tough. I think I'm going to go Thielen there. I really think that the Vikings are going to open up the playbook a little bit from a passing perspective.
Well, look, you got both ends of the spectrum here being displayed on the show. We got a lover and a hater of Juju. Not to say that you hate him by any means, but he's a guy that I'm looking at in the third or fourth rounds. If some of those other names that you threw out there and that we just went through are already off the board, I will gladly take Smith Schuster over a name like, Chris Carson, Leonard Fournette, Melvin Gordon at running back, and certainly want to take a tight end and quarterback later on. So